Okay, age. What we also know is that age has an effect too. I love this little, his biological clock ticks too. So what she's saying is that it can take, with males over 45, it can take 5 times longer for them to get pregnant. So we know that men actually over the age of 40 find that their fertility levels start to decline, and really it just makes common sense. So what you will find is that cell reproduction naturally slows down as we get older, and of course sperm are little primary cells to start with, and the production of them slows down. So you tend to find that they will become less fertile. Unfortunately, you do have people like Rod Stewart and Noel Edmonds, I think, is another one, who, and it was another who's, I can't think of his name, who very high profile, men in their 60s and 70s, fathering children. I think Stringfellow, he was another one as well. But that's not the same for all men, and for most men, their fertility will start to decline with age. Okay, heat. Heat is a big issue. We already know this, and one of the worst things is cycling, because these poor testicles are, squashed up against the cycle seat. The men are wearing lycra, which also holds the heat against their body, and they are exercising at a phenomenal rate quite often if they're, racing. And the testicles really don't like these, and we know that it causes damage to sperm. And then we also have this lovely photo of Gordon Ramsay, who's in the kitchen cooking, and we know that he had to have some help. I think Jamie Oliver too, they had to use IVF. So we know that heat causes a problem, and we need to provide some sensible advice. But cycling most definitely is out of the window, just even for a short while. Okay. Some lovely case studies with using the Sperm Comet test with failed IVF. So we have patient A, who was 50 years old, normal semen analysis, and 3 failed IVF cycles. When they did the test, it showed that this man had 55% sperm DNA damage, which is significant. Anything over 24% starts to become a problem. And then patient B, 41 years normal semen analysis, 2 failed IVF cycles, and again, 56% sperm DNA damage. I had a male client who came, and his semen analysis, it was something like 500 million sperm. So he was delighted. He thought he was Superman. But when he had his sperm DNA taken, they found that he had elevated levels. And so we did some work. They did use IVF, but we had reduced it significantly enough for them to be successful with their first IVF cycle. Okay, so for unexplained infertility, around a third of couples are given no diagnosis. And these couples do worse with IVF than many others. So they have you end up with a general 26% live birth rate. With these couples, only a 12% live birth rate. And of these couples, 80% of the men have elevated levels of sperm DNA damage. Okay. So that is a very high proportion, and really something that needs to be incorporated certainly into what we do and into their fertility treatment plan. Okay, so a couple of failed ICSI case studies with Sperm Comet. So patient E, so 44 years, abnormal semen analysis, and 5 failed ICSI cycles. He had 76% sperm DNA damage. That is incredibly high. And then the next one, 27 years of age, abnormal semen analysis and 2 failed ICSI cycles, and again 51% sperm DNA damage. Okay, so this is what they did. Okay, so this was a case study from the Galway Fertility Centre. IVF with normal ejaculated sperm, 2007. The semen analysis deteriorated between 2007 and 2011, and they then had 4 ICSI cycles. So 1, no fertilized eggs, 1, a possible biochemical pregnancy. The next one was a negative, and the next one was miscarriage at 8 weeks of pregnancy. Now, most miscarriages are between 8 and 12 weeks. And what you have to remember here is that even though the pregnancy may have got to 12 weeks, it is unlikely that the embryo or the fetus will have developed beyond 7 to 8 weeks, because what tends to happen is they get to the stage where the heartbeat is due to develop, and the embryo is just not able to do that. So the pregnancy may continue, but the fetus will actually only be about somewhere between 6 and 8 weeks of maturity. They had a sperm Comet test after this, and what they found was the ejaculated sperm had 50% of DNA damage. So what they did was they used testicular sperm. So that means they extracted the sperm directly from the testes themselves, and ended up with 14% DNA damage, which was hugely better. They used ICSI, and of course, here we are, healthy baby boy in 2012. So in terms of what we can do for our males, and sometimes it is just supporting them through this process. But what we do also know is that the work that we do improves overall semen quality, improves their fertility health and well-being, their overall health and well-being, and that in turn has an impact upon sperm DNA. Okay, and actually we will look at some of the things that she recommends later on. So she says at the bottom here, 12 other couples have opted for this technique, and it is ongoing. So if you do see couples with this kind of picture, it's worthwhile bearing in mind that this may be a route forward for them. Okay, recurrent miscarriage, really important. Currently, the NHS will only explore recurrent miscarriage when couples have had 3 or more consecutive miscarriages. And if they then have a pregnancy, it goes back to the beginning again, and you find that they have to have another 3, because there is this attitude of, well, you can get pregnant, so we'll leave you to get on with it. But clearly it is highly distressing. As she says, it's not perceived by many medical practitioners as a fertility issue, but it does cost the NHS £30 million each year. That's a huge sum of money. There is currently no patient pathway, so that means there is nothing at the moment that for a patient to access resources or treatment within the NHS at the moment. Okay, so it is a huge issue, I know, for many of our clients. Okay, so the sperm Comet for recurrent miscarriage, 40 to 50% are unexplained. Okay, but what she's querying here is, are they related to sperm DNA damage? Okay, and she has also cited a piece of research here of a significant number of couples. It is a meta-analysis, so it's a grouping together of previous pieces of research, but it may well be worth, in fact, it is a very interesting piece to read. So the effects of sperm DNA fragmentation on miscarriage rates. So really useful. Again, I will try and post that if I can. Okay, so some sperm comet case studies. Patient C, 32 years of age, normal semen analysis, no previous IVF or ICSI, 4 spontaneous miscarriages, and what they found was 59% sperm DNA damage. And the next one, 39 years, again, no previous IVF or ICSI, normal semen analysis, and 3 miscarriages, and with this male, 53% sperm DNA damage. A pilot study of RPL after spontaneous conception, so the first 25 samples they looked at, 91% of these males had greater than 25% DNA damage. Okay, so we know that that causes a problem and is certainly an issue with fertility. Okay, so who would benefit from sperm DNA testing? Every man with fertility issues, and I think that it is something, if you have clients who are coming to see you and they've been trying to conceive for a couple of years with no success, or they have had 2 or more miscarriages, this is a test which I recommend to my clients because it is the only way of assessing sperm DNA accurately. So what Sheena says is couples with unexplained infertility, couples who've had unsuccessful IVF or ICSI, couples who have had miscarriages, and men who have been treated for cancer, because, we know that that can cause a problem. Okay, can you reverse the damage? So you can't reverse it because the sperm are already damaged, but because new sperm are being produced every 3 months, we can improve the quality of those sperm. And she is talking in particular about antioxidants because antioxidants impact upon free radicals. So she says, keep calm and have a healthy lifestyle, which is very much what we promote, and what we do underpins that. Okay, so what are free radicals? Because they are what is causing the damage. I love this little clip she's got here. So free radicals are like robbers which are deficient in energy, and they attack and snatch energy from other cells, i.e. sperm cells, to satisfy themselves. So therefore, they're taking the energy from the sperm and they're causing them damage. Okay, and therefore that damages the DNA as well. Can we protect our sperm DNA with dietary supplements? Well, the indications are yes. And this is a very interesting, again, piece of research. Benefits and mechanisms of nutraceutical supplementation on IVF and ICSI outcomes. I think they used something called Fertilix. So again, another piece of research which would be really useful for us to be able to look at. Okay, some more case studies. So, patient E, 41 years of age, 2 failed IVF, normal semen analysis, 56% sperm DNA. Antioxidant, as she calls them, kicks out the free radicals. So what they did was 4 months of antioxidant therapy. So that basically is taking supplements like the ones that we recommend through NHP. The sperm DNA damage reduced to 24%, so that's borderline, but it is in the OK range, at the top of the OK range. So here we are, 0 to 24% no DNA damage problems, 25 to 50 try IVF first, and greater than 50% better with ICSI. All right, so we want to see everyone in the 24% and lower, really, and the lower down, the better. So, okay. The last screen, come and talk to Fiona. This was when they were doing the fertility show, but I will post Fiona Andrews' email address on the Facebook link to the webinar. So if you want to provide this as a test within your practice, she will organise all that you need to do to be able to do that. Now, I think what I'm going to try and do, bear with me, I'm just going to change this to my screen so you can see me. That's better. Okay, so I can talk to you now. Okay, so that is the end of Sheena's presentation, which, as you can see, is very comprehensive. And now we end up with some questions. So if you've got questions to ask, if you could type them in for me and then I can answer them for you, that would be fantastic. Okay. I hope you found that interesting. I have to say, when she delivered it, probably far better than I did. And of course, she will have been able to answer your questions much better than me, but I will do my best to answer any questions you may have. I was going to ask one of you, I wondered, are any of you providing the test already? And if not, would there be any of you who would like to be able to provide it? Okay, Ricky. So I'm just going to answer that. So, does the price of the test give us a detailed report back of the issues like Cheryl Homer? It isn't like Cheryl's test, because Cheryl is looking visually at the sperm themselves. And what this does is really just tell us the levels of sperm DNA fragmentation. So it's a fairly simple, straightforward test, but it does tell us the levels of DNA fragmentation, and that's really what we need to know. The cost of the test will depend upon which clinic is providing it or whether you're doing it yourself. If you are providing it yourself, it's £399, and of that £399, you will be paid a referral fee of £50, okay, which basically covers your time in preparing the test and also your consultation time with your clients, okay. And if you are referring on to a clinic, as long as there is an agreement with that clinic and you send a referral form in with your clients, then again you will be paid the referral fee. All right. So I hope that answers that one. Great. Any other questions? Was someone going to speak to me?
Yes, I was. I can't type for some reason on this iPad.
Okay.
So just to say, I've not asked a question, but I am listening.
Okay.
And it's very interesting. Thank you.
Oh, that's great, Diane. Is it something you would like to be able to offer?
It is. I want to go out now and offer it now, but I'm going to have to, look into it in a little bit more detail. And I'd love to read the research.
Whereabouts are you based, Diane?
I'm in Shrewsbury.
Okay. Okay. I'm just trying to think. So is Cheshire too far?
No, I've taken that address down actually. I thought I might email them and just see what they're about.
So, well, what you need to do first of all, rather
Yes,
than
Cheshire's not
contact,
far from me at all.
yeah, if don't contact the clinic directly, you need to contact Fiona Andrews of Sperm Comet,
Okay.
and I think her email address is fiona.andrews@spermcomet.co.uk. Oh no, spermcomet.com. And just explain that you're one of the reflexologists from the association, and she will guide you through and put you in touch with them.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, no pleasure. Okay, anyone else? No other questions? Simon, okay. Okay, Simon. So Simon's saying she's in Bournemouth. She works from home. So could the client produce the sample and bring it to me? Okay. Now, that's quite an interesting one, Simon, because it will depend on how far away they live from you. The sample needs to be no greater than 60 minutes old, or an hour, before it's frozen. When I have done them here, I had clients who only lived 20 minutes away, so they produced it at home and they kept it in the dark, kept it warm. We checked that it had liquefied once it had arrived, and we just went through that and absolutely then prepared it here at home, and that's absolutely fine. But they need to be within a sensible distance from you, and that they're not going to get held up. So you'd be very welcome to do that. How do you feel about doing that? Okay, that's great. So again, Simon, if you're happy to do that, then I would make contact with Fiona, who will organise all the paperwork for you and talk you through getting the shipping. What they do say is if you can organise it so that you are sending 3 samples in one go, because otherwise the shipping becomes very costly. All right. So if you group your clients together and maybe send in samples once a month or once every 3 months, so that you're sending them in, it makes it more cost efficient. All right. If you're going to do it that way, that's fine. Okay, good. Any other questions? So, okay. So Artie, you'd like to refer clients to do this test. So is there a clinic near me? Oh, the nearest clinic to you is Sutton Coldfield in Birmingham. Right. What you need to do is you need to make contact with Fiona first of all, so that she can make the introduction, so that you can make the referral directly to the clinic. So again, what I would do, Artie, is I would email Fiona Andrews, ask her where the nearest clinic that is providing this test is to you, and she will then organise all the paperwork for you. Okay. So I hope that answers that. I know that they've got a number of centres. Fiona's been working terribly hard to make sure that we've got more places offering the test now. So yeah, that would be great. Okay. Anybody else with questions? No? All okay? All right. All quite happy with the test? Anything else you want to know? Great. What I will try and do then is I will try and post the links from the pieces of research that are within the presentation onto the Facebook page, so that you can look those up yourself. All right. But lovely. Thank you very much. I hope you've all enjoyed it. It would be really grateful. I'd be really grateful if you could post some feedback on that link in the Facebook page, so that other people will know that we're doing these things. Thank you, Ricky. That's really great. Yeah, so just lovely to speak to you all this morning, and hopefully we'll run some more. My idea is that what I'm going to try and do is run a monthly question and answer webinar, so that because I know that lots of you share some fantastic information on the website, on the Facebook page, and I don't always get time to answer all the questions. So I thought if I'm able to do a monthly question and answer session, and maybe covering a small topic once a month, then that might be useful to you all. So we'll see what we can do. But I think it's worked well as a first one. So thank you, everybody. It's really lovely, and hopefully I shall see some of you soon. All right. Have a good morning, and thank you very much, everyone. Bye-bye. Bye.
Oh, goodbye.
Bye.